Finally, sunshine on the Gold Coast. We've cycled about 15-20 minutes from Broad Beach, where we're staying in the suburban area, to Main Beach. Back at the studio apartment and getting set up for 2 podcast recordings today. We were supposed to have 3 guests today, but one of our guests asked if they could defer because of some other work commitments. They're just feeling a bit pressed to be in the right kind of headspace and be calm and ready to talk today, and that is completely fair enough. Karen and I have figured out that we're here through this podcast to help other people share their stories, and putting guests at ease and helping them to tell their stories in the best possible way, creating the space for that, is critical to the success of the podcast and to achieving our goals. So we were more than happy to reschedule that particular one and focus on the 2 we've got today. You might notice I haven't been talking much about the specific topics or content or the guests, and that's because, I don't want to have to issue a spoiler alert. I kind of would rather wait until the podcasts start being published and talk about each of the episodes and probably blog about them as well on my website as they're being published. I did some more work this morning to update materials for the From Water Taker to Performance Partner workshop, which we're running in 6 working days in Brisbane. I wanted to brighten up the PowerPoint a little bit. So right up front, where we talk about our aspirations, that's both Arun and I talking about our aspirations, as well as asking the participants to talk about their aspirations for learning and development and the point we're at with shifting and evolving learning and development. I just love the fun of this and the fact that, kids without inhibitions, playing together, not that we're playing, but the idea of community come out as part of the aspirations and kind of reaching for the skies and shifting things. And given our affinity for dogs on this trip, I found a way to work a dog into the slides. I'm doing a little case study, and I want to get people attuned to the fact that they should be listening out, thinking about their observations, insights and questions. So I thought the dog was cute and would add a bit of lightness. I've also added in some new content about governance and prioritisation, which wasn't in the first session, but I think we talked around it. I think this will help. And one of the things I was really pleased about was just this slight evolution to the governance model that I've been using in my mentoring program. And this is a good example of that whole Kaizen 1% approach, where you just keep tweaking things and improving them as you use them. And that is on the side here, the inform and enable linkages. So what I'm suggesting now is that governance and decisions made at this executive level are going to inform the kind of decisions you make around prioritisation and resource allocation at the strategic level, which then that strategic level helps enable achievement of the tactical level, particularly in terms of acting as project sponsors and unblocking things that need to be unblocked. I've been looking for an idea for a short video that I could make and share around strategic L&D this week to put up on LinkedIn, and I think I'll talk about that governance model. I think that would be an appropriate contribution, would promote both my mentoring as well as some of the content of the performance partnering workshops. So it got hot in this little room. You can see Jess at one point closed the blinds because we've got big windows on either side of us. So we were roasting because I had to keep the windows closed, no aircon on to manage the background noise. 2 good conversations, very different conversations, 2 very different guests. One about kind of a sort of big enterprise-wide strategic move, and another about an approach to learning that was new and fresh for the organisation. Both really stretching, really challenging learning and development to try something different, to be bold. And that's the bit I'm really starting to love about the podcasts is that this message around trying new things and taking a courageous step. Love it. I think it's time for Jess and I to go for a swim. We finally got a good day. There's a pool here. It's time for us to use. So we've gone down to the lower levels of the property that we're staying on, and we're about to go for a swim in the pool, but we've just discovered this super pretty spot. I love this tree with the lights in it, and look at these big legume pods. They're kind of seed pods. You can see some are still green, some are black, but they're really big. But what a gorgeous little spot this is. Next door neighbours have got their boat moored on their private jetty. All right, it's definitely time to get into this water and cool off. That room was so hot. This is going to be lovely. So we've got this patio area around the corner as well, beside the canal. I think I might sit down here to do my next video, my LinkedIn video that I'm going to do today. Oh, I like this place.
Mum, I'm leaving home. I can't do this anymore.
But I thought you were just going to do a workout. You got a lot of stuff on your back for a workout, Jess.
Yeah.
Have fun. I'm somewhat amused by what I've just done. I just made my LinkedIn video talking about the governance framework for learning and development. But I feel very much like a newsreader because I'm very dressed up top, but I'm not even going to show you. I'm still wearing my swimmers, so I've got my swimmers on and a nice top over the top. I basically stuck the, I've got a little iPhone camera holder, and I basically put that on top of my tripod and just set myself up here in the lounge room. And you know what? That was really quick and easy. I just grabbed one slide of content from the Performance Partnering Workshop. The governance slide I talked about this morning, about making a little tweak on. And I just sat here and talked to that slide for 2 minutes and posed some questions to learning and development leaders to apply what was in the slide. So I'm going to do the edit now and post that between 5 to 6. I learned from Karen today that that's the peak time when people look at content on LinkedIn on their commute home from work. So I'll time it for that 5 to 6 p.m. slot here in Australia. I'll post it just a little before that 5 o'clock time slot and see what happens. Got my video up on LinkedIn, and in the process I noticed more people have invited me to connect with them. My LinkedIn invitations are getting a bit out of control, to be honest. I've got 156 invitations to connect. So I refuse to give in to the temptation just to kind of tick and flick and accept all of these without looking at someone's profile, without, asking them, why have you invited me to connect if it's not obvious? And once I've accepted an invitation to connect, sending them a little bit about myself, asking them a couple of questions, inviting them to have a conversation with me. I actually want to make a proper connection, not just kind of an artificial, superficial connection, which means I've got to find a slot in my diary to regularly go through these requests to connect. I wish people would make it a little bit easier for me by having the courtesy to write me a short note and explain why they're connecting and share a little bit about themselves. I never send a connection request without some sort of note or message, and it would just make this whole processing thing so much easier. Probably symptomatic of the way most people engage with the network, or maybe just don't even think about personalising a request, or don't know how easy it is to personalise a request. Just had my first project team meeting for a new project that I've started managing. It's for a professional association, and fortunately it's something that I can do remotely, just a small project team, and it's about a 2-month project. So we're using a few key tools for virtual collaboration. We're using Dropbox to share files, Skype for some of our core project team meetings, WhatsApp as our messaging app, and looking at using WebEx for some extended consultation meetings. So I think we've got the tech set up, we've got a project plan, we're ready to go. Here we go, we got some fireworks. Got no idea what the event is for. Maybe it's to celebrate our presence in Surfers. What do you think, Jess?
That's it.
Anyway, that's a bit of fun to have fireworks. Chilling out. Of course, I'm only travelling this year with the essentials. I've got my Apple TV, which will work just plug into any TV, and we're hooked on Netflix series. We're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine at the moment, which is very fun. Jess has just done my fingernails, and I think we're going to call that a night and go to sleep.